left, and I wanted to ask you about horror.
Oh yeah,
Because
let's talk about
we
it.
might be here for hours now, but so books, movies, audio. I mean, what do you prefer? And what do you how do you what's horror?
What do I define as
Horror.
horror? Horror. I know. Get those syllables in.
Horror.
So well, I mean, my favorite is like paranormal type horror. I love haunting movies. I love, stuff like that. So the first horror movie I ever watched, first of all, I was born on Halloween. That's my birthday. So I do think that has probably shaped me as a person. Also,
So Friday the 13th was playing in the background
Right.
in the hospital
as
or
I
where?
was
Yeah.
being birthed. Also, my mom is very into horror. She always has been. And so I saw Poltergeist when I was 5 years old. Loved it. Scared the crap out of me.
Well, yeah.
I was horrified, but there was something about it.
I forget who the little girl was.
Oh my gosh, her name just went right out
yeah.
of my head.
But she was like
Carol Ann in the
Carol Ann.
movie,
She was
but
like
I can't-
5.
Yeah,
I mean, she was that
yeah.
age, and
so I'm like watching this little girl interact with her television,
Ann.
right? And I'm like just horrified. But I watched it. I have probably seen that movie other than like Jaws. I've probably seen that movie more than any other movie because I, as a kid, was like, I want to watch Poltergeist, but I would want to watch it because it scared me, and I loved it. I loved the.
That is a
being
terrifying
scared. Isn't that
ass
crazy?
movie.
How am I
It
not
really
a
is.
serial killer? Anyway, so I.
That's why I'm doing this in a public place,
Right.
not library.
Right, you need to be safe. But that's where it started, was watching that. And then I'm a sucker for any movie that gives me like a kid's trick-or-treating in a neighborhood scene. I love it so much. Anytime that happens in a movie, I'm like, I feel comfortable. But in all those, 70s with Halloween, love Halloween. I'm not as into the slasher movies, but I
No.
love, like, I think the Scream franchise is like a perfect franchise. But I love the haunting stuff. I love what Blumhouse has done, which they did like in the Insidious movies, the Conjuring movies, that whole universe.
I love that. So you must have loved Netflix's Hill House.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
I
haven't seen
love-
it yet. I should probably see it.
I know, right? It has not. It's not even close to the play, by the way.
No,
It's
no.
a totally different story. But what's interesting about that is so Kate Siegel is the actress who plays Theo in The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix.
Katie Seagal, Married with Children. Kate Seagal.
No.
Okay.
No, she's
Okay.
Kate Siegel. She's married, and she's married to oh my gosh, his name just left me. He just directed Doctor Sleep, but he directed the Haunting of Hill
Okay.
House on Netflix, and their movie. Oh my gosh, the name of it just totally left me. Hush is on Netflix. Watch that movie, so good. Anyway, I adore her, and she I watch her. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to write horror movies. I want to be in them. I want to do all this stuff.
That is so fun. But yeah, I don't like slasher movies either. I mean, my buddies and I would watch Hellraiser or whatever,
Oh,
and
totally.
it's just I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's awful.
Yeah, that's not really my genre. Here's
No.
the thing: I have an appreciation for like all horror, and I understand like the connection. Like I'll look for connections, like in movies I watch now and go, oh, that's very reminiscent of this '84 film of da da da. But it's funny because when Jake and I got married, he hated the horror genre, hated it, and he did not understand.
Well, it depends on where you come in from.
Oh, yeah,
right?
totally. But what's interesting for him, and this may be helpful to anybody who's listening and they're like, I hate this, I hate scary movies. We would have conversations about it because I'd be like, I want to watch this movie. And he'd be like, I don't want to watch it. So it wouldn't be like contention, but it would be annoyance of like, please just watch this movie with me. But finally I said to him one time, he's like, why do you like it so much? Doesn't it make you feel gross? And I'm like, well, no, because a horror movie, and I make the same case for like going to haunted attractions during Halloween, it's a complete mental break. Because when you are like, you're watching that movie and there's that tension, right? There's that tension building. One of my favorite tension building scenes is in The Conjuring 2, when the little boy's on his bed and he hears a noise in the hallway. and he leans over and camera pans to look in the hallway, and then it pans back, and then it pans to the hallway. It does it like 3 times. It's the best thing because you're expecting to
total
see
tension,
that thing,
and you're waiting for the.
When you're sitting in that moment, when I'm watching that scene, I cannot think of anything else. There is nothing else on this planet, yoga, meditation, nothing that checks me out like horror and those scary moments
with the suspense.
Yeah, with the suspense. Like nothing gives me a mental break more than that. And for some reason that made sense to him, and now he watches all kinds of horror stuff with me, and he loves going to like Strangling Brothers circus during Halloween with me and all that kind of stuff because he gets it. He's like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, it is. And when he started realizing that, he's like, oh yeah, I can now appreciate this.
And I don't like Halloween attractions much because it's all hack and slash and chainsaws and stuff,
totally
and I'm like that. And the only one, like I said, I watched some of that stuff. I watched Freddy Krueger as a kid, as a teenager.
Yeah.
But the one I had to see when it came out was Cabin in the Woods.
Ooh,
because I'm a huge Joss Whedon fan,
Joss
Buffy
Whedon's
and
great.
Angel and everything. And I'm like, he's going to turn this completely upside down, which he did. And it has, what's his name? Josh Lyman from West Wing. I forget. Brad Whitford.
Brad Whitford, yeah.
Who is
Brad
amazing.
Oh,
and
I love him.
he, and there's some interesting cameos right at the end and stuff. But what a way to take, just make fun of a genre.
Yeah.
And do the genre at the same time, and then completely flip it on its head.
Yeah.
It was such a fun movie. But other than, I really don't like, there's some of these body horror movies. I can't even. I won't do it. Saw and just human.
I was into the first Saw, and then after that, I was like going, "What is happening?" But what I love about horror now is Mike Flanagan. Oh my gosh, that's the name of Kate Siegel's husband who did The Haunting of Hill House. But what I love about what people like Jordan Peele are doing with like Us and Get Out, and like Mike Flanagan with what he did with Haunting of Hill House and Hush, and it's becoming. Because horror has never been like necessarily a respected genre, right? Like Martin Scorsese makes a movie and it's really respected, which I get, like it should be, like he's an incredible filmmaker and there's a lot to that. But it's becoming a more and more respected genre because I think more and more filmmakers are focusing on story first, which is what makes a good horror movie. You focus on story first and scares second. You don't go into it like, I'm going to make the scariest movie. And I think when you watch The Haunting of Hill House, I think that on Netflix, that is one of the perfect examples of that. Also like Get Out and, Hereditary and movies like that. They have a purpose first, whether that's relationships or social commentary or whatever. And then the scares and the tension builds off of that.
On top of that.
And so it makes me really excited and like watching. And I think Blumhouse with what they've done, I think they've really led the way. And of course there are also movies before that 100% did that. I just think it's a little bit more of a movement now within the genre. And I'm excited about it, and I hope to be a part of it at some point.
I was just realizing I need to see Poltergeist again.
You've got to.
And it's because it's been a couple decades or something like that. But thinking about, and it was a horrifying movie, not just from, there's the guy that had the weird vision of his. Yeah.
Right.
And there's intense stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a mother who, and I didn't think about it this way, but I do now, right? Because I have kids. And there's this just epic, memorable scene. It's like the scene in the movie where she realizes that whatever it is in the room with her kid, and she starts running down the hall, and the hall is getting longer.
Yeah.
And
I'm getting chills.
And
yeah.
From the perspective of that's scary but if you're the mom and that's your kid, that whole scene is what's happening in your head.
Yeah.
And they visualized it on the screen.
And you can't get to your kid.
And it's just,
Yeah, that's exactly, that is such I love that you brought that up because that's exactly right. There's so much more, like a stretching, we've all had that dream where you're trying to run and you can't get there, but that's not what that was about. They just were like, what is this feeling? Oh, this is what feeling is.
It's describing the feeling in a visual way so that someone sitting in a theater seat can feel it
Yeah.
in their head, in their
Yeah.
body, in their heart.
Yeah. Well, and like, and in that movie, and we're, of course, talking about the night. Is it 85? When did Poltergeist
I
come out?
don't know. It was
I'm
a
like
long
going,
time
wait a
ago,
second,
man.
when was it? But we're talking about that version. There was a newer version, and I am
Oh,
not.
was there?
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not hard on movies. I don't. I'm really, really not hard on movies. I wouldn't like recommend the new Poltergeist. But anyway, so that's the one we're talking about, of course. But Craig T. Nelson plays the dad in that, and like, I'm kind of speaking in gender stereotypes, but he's very much the dad. Like he's that quote unquote all American, like totally played football in high school, like together providing for his family dad. And then when you watch him like be in that position of like, what am I don't know what to do, like breaking. And so, there's so much with that movie that I adore, and that movie did that. It did story before scares, and I think that's the formula.
So what's coming up this year that you're looking forward to, movie wise?
Oh gosh, let's see. See, now I'd have to. It's everything has left my brain. There is a new season of Haunting of Hill House coming out.
Okay.
I think that it's Haunting of Bly Manor, and he's kind of doing what American Horror Story did, where they're bringing back the cast to do different roles, which I love. I love that kind of stuff. But I'm really excited for that. That's probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most, because I love his style. I love his storytelling, Mike Flanagan's storytelling. And he's really he's cultivated like an amazing group of actors, I think, to pull off that kind of stuff. But I think that's probably what I'm most excited about.
You've inspired me, because
good.
I'm more science fiction than horror.
Sure.
Because everything all the trailers that I ever see for horror are just, slashing
they're all the same.
and demons and that whole thing, which
Yeah.
I like demons. I don't have a problem with them,
Right.
on movies or in movies. But yeah, there's some things I need to look up now. And since I know the story of Hill House so well, and Lizzie, our friend, was telling me that there's a lot of little throwbacks in the series.
Yeah, there really are.
So
there
that's
really,
fun.
really
I
are.
need to
And
go
I don't
back.
even think we talked about that is how we know each other.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yes,
because we did that play together.
This is
and
the
I was
Jeff
Theo.
Knows People from Theater podcast.
Right,
So.
Jeff Knows People from theater. Yeah. I was stoked. That being, because I had never done theater before, and so that was a meaningful one for me to be able to do the Haunting of Hill House and play Theo. Was like I was kind of one of those moments of like, this is so cool, and I hope I get to play this again, like at some point. But what a good play. Loved it.
That was fun, and this was fun. Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
Tia Ryder, Rider, find her on Audible.
Yes.
And other places.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I'm on
if
the
you're a new
Instagram
hire
machine.
somewhere, you might
Yeah.
you might hear a voice in your head when you're learning about ladders and
Yep.
what not to do.
Yep. Your spreadsheets and whatnot. Yep.
No.
That might be me.
So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. It's been great to have you here.
Thank you.